Imagine waking up tomorrow with no house, no phone, no electricity, no roads, no cities, and no idea what tomorrow might bring. Your only goal is simple: survive until sunset. Every sound in the forest could mean death. Every meal has to be found, hunted, or gathered by your own hands. This wasn't a nightmare. It was everyday life for humans 100,000 years ago. But here's the shocking part. Despite having none of our modern technology, these people were intelligent, creative, and surprisingly sophisticated. In many ways, they were already becoming the humans we are today. And by the end of this video, you'll see why their world was far stranger and far more dangerous than most people could ever imagine. If you enjoy uncovering forgotten history and incredible mysteries like this, take a second to like this video and subscribe. Every discovery about our ancient ancestors reveals just how unlikely our survival really was. And trust me, what scientists have uncovered over the past few decades changes almost everything we thought we knew. 100,000 years ago, Earth looked both familiar and completely alien. Vast forests stretched across continents untouched by civilization. Endless grasslands rolled farther than the eye could see. Massive rivers flowed freely without dams or bridges. There were no countries, no borders, and certainly no cities. Humanity existed in small groups, often fewer than 50 people, constantly moving from place to place in search of food and safety. But here's where things get strange. Humans weren't the only type of human alive. At that time, our species, Homo sapiens, shared the planet with several other human relatives. Neanderthals thrived across Europe and Western Asia. The mysterious Denisovans lived somewhere in Asia. Other ancient human species may have survived in isolated regions. Imagine walking through a valley and encountering another human-like group that looked different, spoke differently, and lived differently. It sounds like science fiction, but this was reality. Even more astonishing, scientists discovered that these different human groups sometimes had children together. In fact, many people alive today still carry Neanderthal or Denisovan DNA. Life itself was a constant battle. Early humans didn't have supermarkets or refrigerators. Breakfast wasn't guaranteed. Some days they found berries, roots, nuts, and honey. Other days they tracked animals for hours without catching anything. Success often depended on teamwork. A single mistake during a hunt could mean starvation for the entire group. And what happened next was even more dangerous. The world was filled with predators far more terrifying than anything alive today. Giant cave lions hunted silently across Europe. Saber-toothed cats still survived in some regions. Packs of enormous wolves stalked the plains. Giant hyenas could crush bones with incredible force. Massive crocodiles lurked in rivers, while huge snakes waited in thick vegetation. Humans weren't always the hunters. Many times they were the hunted. But scientists discovered something remarkable. Instead of relying on strength, humans relied on something far more powerful: cooperation. They shared food, they cared for injured members, they planned hunts together, they communicated using increasingly complex language. This ability to work as a team became one of the greatest survival tools ever developed, and this changes everything. Archaeological evidence suggests that people were already making sophisticated stone tools with incredible precision. Some tools required dozens of carefully planned steps to produce. That means ancient humans could think ahead, teach others, and pass knowledge from one generation to the next. This wasn't random survival anymore. It was culture. Then there's perhaps the greatest mystery of all. Were they already telling stories? We can't hear their voices today, but many scientists believe storytelling may have been one of humanity's secret weapons. Around campfires, they likely shared knowledge about dangerous animals, successful hunts, distant water sources, and perhaps even myths explaining the stars above them. Those stories may have helped entire groups survive. Here's something that surprises many people. Although life expectancy was much shorter because of disease, accidents, and predators, individuals who survived childhood could sometimes live into their 60s or even beyond. Elder members became living libraries, carrying decades of experience that could mean the difference between life and death for younger generations. Knowledge was more valuable than strength. Halfway through this journey, here's a question for you. If you suddenly found yourself living 100,000 years ago with everything you know today, but none of today's technology, what would be your first priority? Would you build shelter, find water, create fire, or gather a group to survive together? There may not be one correct answer, so let us know your strategy in the comments. Some of your ideas might actually surprise everyone. But here's where things become even more incredible. Fire wasn't just about warmth, it transformed humanity. Cooking made food easier to digest, giving our bodies more energy. Fire kept predators away during the night. It provided light, allowing people to socialize long after sunset. Around those glowing flames, friendships grew stronger, knowledge spread faster, and perhaps the earliest dreams of civilization quietly began. Scientists have also found evidence suggesting that people were already decorating themselves with shells, pigments, and simple ornaments. Some discoveries from Africa date back roughly 100,000 years. Think about that for a moment. Even while struggling to survive, people still cared about beauty, identity, and self-expression. Survival alone wasn't enough. They wanted meaning. Then came one of the biggest challenges our ancestors ever faced. Climate constantly shifted, ice ages expanded and retreated, grasslands turned into deserts, forests disappeared and returned, entire animal populations migrated thousands of kilometers. Human groups had to adapt or vanish forever. Many didn't survive, but those who did became even more resilient. The most astonishing statistic may be this. Genetic studies suggest that every person alive today descends from a surprisingly small population of ancient humans in Africa. Every language, every culture, every nation, every invention traces back to those small wandering groups who somehow survived impossible odds. If even a handful of critical moments had gone differently, none of us would exist. And perhaps the most unsettling thought is this. If you met one of your ancestors from 100,000 years ago as a newborn and somehow raised them in today's world, many scientists believe they could grow up learning languages, attending school, and living a modern life much like anyone else. The difference between them and us isn't intelligence, it's the thousands of generations of knowledge built on top of theirs. So when you think about life 100,000 years ago, don't imagine primitive people stumbling through the wilderness. Imagine brave survivors standing at the very beginning of humanity's greatest journey. Every fire they lit, every hunt they survived, every child they protected, and every story they told became another step toward the world we live in today. The next time you switch on a light, open your refrigerator, or walk safely through your neighborhood, remember this. Everything began with small groups of determined humans facing a wild world that wanted them gone. Somehow, against impossible odds, they survived, and because they did, you're here watching this video. If you love exploring forgotten history, hidden truths, ancient civilizations, strange science, and the incredible mysteries of our past, be sure to subscribe and join us for the next journey, because history still holds countless secrets, and some of the greatest discoveries are just waiting beneath the surface.